Okay, today I have a 2006 Honda CR-V all-wheel drive, and the transmission designation or the transmission code is an MZKA. All right, this is a 5-speed. And the complaint with this is a whining noise in park and neutral. When you drop it into drive or reverse, the noise would stop. Then as you start driving, the noise would come back. All right, so this transmission, or this family of transmissions in the CR-Vs, have a problem. And I took the end cover off to confirm what the problem is. And what happens is there's a bearing that is basically a pressed fit in the end cover, because when you purchase the end cover, the bearing is in there. It's a pressed fit bearing. And it really shouldn't come out. That goes over this race right here, and it helps support the main shaft. So over time, the bearing, the cover is going to wear, allowing the bearing to move and allow the shafts to move, so the shafts won't be running true. And when that happens, you get the gear whine. The beginning stages, if you leave it, it could probably do some damage. But the beginning stages is you're going to have a gear whine, and park and neutral will go away when you select, idle, foot on the brake, drive, reverse. So that's what's going on here. So we're going to open this up. We did get the okay to do the overhaul, so I do have a banner kit, and I'm going to be getting the cover from Honda, but I want to get the transmission apart because I get the new cooler return filter from Honda, I get the updated feed tubes from Honda, the collar, if that's no good, where the feeds the second clutch. So we're gonna figure I can show you what's going on. We can basically break this transmission down together, and may not find much wrong in there. And there actually is an article about this particular problem, and they're also saying that cracked tubes can cause another high-pitched whining noise. I honestly haven't seen that, but there is an article about it, so I guess it is possible. And this is really probably the first time I'm actually getting one of these in with this complaint. Most of the time, of course, the common problem is why I get these in. I actually just did one. I did an 04 CR-V, and that problem was clutches flake off, clog the screen, it stops moving when it gets hot. About 2 weeks ago I did one of those, and that worked out nice. So this one, complaint of a whining noise, park and neutral, goes away when you drop it and drive. So I want to show you the cover of what the problem is, and then we can go ahead and start tearing this down. So I'm going to get a little closer. We're going to focus on the cover first. All right, so just give me 1 second here, and let me just get set up for that. Okay, so here's the end cover to this transmission, and the problem is this is worn out here. So again, this is, a pressed fit. The bearing may come out over time, but when you buy these new, it's basically a pressed fit, and this here will come right out. And even if this will drop right in. All right, and even if you look at it, you can see around that the case, that the cover is really worn out. All right, so this should not really come out this easy. And then we're going to look at the rest of it, once we get it apart. So again, when I'm going to be purchasing this cover from Honda, it's about $200, and it comes with the bearing. And I believe it also comes, I think it might come with this bearing and the seal behind it too, if I'm not mistaken. There were 3 items in the picture that it showed that it came with, and for sure this was one of them. All right, so these I'll change over because there's seals in here that I change anyway. But this, this is way, way worn out. It's spinning and everything in here. So I'm electing, of course, you really don't want to get a used one because of this problem. All right, so that is the cover, pressure switch here, and then you have some seals for the feed tubes, and these are the feed tubes for the inside. Okay. Now let me just reposition. And we're going to start taking the solenoids, lines, and stuff off the outside of the transmission. And then we're going to take the bolts out and pop the cover off. All right, let me just reposition for that. Okay, so first, let's get rid of these lines. So this inline filter, this is something that I always change, and that comes out of Honda as well. So I want to get my list together before I call them to order what I need. Okay, so now we're going to take the linears off, B and C, and the single one is linear A. These aside. Okay. I'm going to get the 4 tubes out. These gaskets usually tear. You know, they usually tear around in here. I mean, these are intact, but again, I got to wash this thing up. Okay, linear B and C. While we're here, let's get the cover off. There's a couple of dowels here that keep this cover in line. Right, they're in there pretty good. There's the solenoid cover. Good thing is they are accessible. You know, if you did have to change these while the transmission is in the car, you can do that. Now, back to that. Just want to get that cover off. Now let's get linear A. Okay. Is your output and input speed sensor? Got to be careful with these. Sometimes, you know, some corrosion builds up and these things are a little tough to come out. Okay. Input and output speed sensor. Right, I'm going to swing it back around here. So I don't lose this, I'm going to take the vent cap off. So I don't lose that when I have it in the machine. Okay, We're gonna unplug these solenoids. So these are kind of all wired here, together, so you really can't plug them in wrong. But, if anything, take a picture, draw a road map, whatever would help to make it a little easier. But they're all color coded, so it probably shouldn't really be a problem. These are the shift solenoids and the lockup solenoid. Go. Okay, so these are going to stay, and when I lift the cover off, they'll be on the valve body. All right, so now we're going to get the stuff off of the top. Let me just back out a little bit so you guys can see. And then we'll do all the bolts and lift the case out. Okay, so we have a feed tube here, and then we have another one back here. All right, I do want to check this case because this seems a little loose in here, so I don't want to do this and then have the same noise. So I'm not sure if this also was worn where this bearing was, if it was pulling it to one side or whatever the case, but it does seem a little worn to me, so may have to replace this section of the case as well, which is the main case. Okay. That's for the part assembly. Now, there's a tab that I want to flip up. Let's see if we can get this out. All right, let me just grab a wrench. Okay. That. Let me just turn my light back on. Okay. All right, so I'm going to take the parking pole out, spring and rod. I'm going to keep the spring over here. And the linkage can come out. All right, so then we got to move this so it lines up when we pull the case half out. Okay, that's good. All right, now we got to get the 3 big end nuts off. So we have 2 of them that are opposite thread, and 1 that is regular. So again, the arrow, when you see the big arrow, that shows which way it tightens. So this is going to be opposite, right. Okay. Where is my setup for that? When I had that ready. Okay. All right, so this one. Washers that go on it. It's a little dish, but the dish, it faces down, so it's gonna kind of sit like that. And this is regular. Okay. All right, so this one, the park gear, we just gotta kind of pry it up. little bit. Okay. That's that. I gotta get set up for this. This we gotta put the puller on and pull the gear off. And then we're gonna take the bolts out and release a snap ring, and then the shaft should drop down to get the snap ring out of the bearing, and then it should come out. All right, let me just set up my puller to get that gear off. Just give me 1 second. Okay, so let's pull this gear off. There we go. Side. Yeah, this is way worn out, this case, it looks like. I'm gonna have to probably take this out. Because this shouldn't be this loose, you know, if there's bearings in here, other these are, everything else is really tight. But this is not. All right. We're gonna take all the bolts out, we're gonna split the case open. As always, see if we can get this out. So what I'll do is I'll just have to fix, I have the chasers to fix the bolts. I will leave that aside. And one in here. Okay, a couple more. Okay, they are all out. Now what I want to do is get my snap ring pliers. I'm going to spread this clip. All right, and that just dropped down. The shaft just dropped down. So the snap ring is out of the bearing. Now let's see how easy this thing will pop out. There it is. Okay, let me just take a look at this thing. Let me try to get that apart. And then we'll kind of just break this down and check a few things on here. This, let's see, yeah, this has the old set of pipes, so the pipe's going to have to be updated. Want to check the collar or sleeve as they call it. All right, just give me a couple of minutes here. I'll be right back. Okay, all right, so I got this out. You know, it comes right out, no problem. There's a snap ring. This is the setup on the inside. There's the split ring. There's the washer that holds the split ring together, and then the snap ring with the eyelet. So I took that out, took the washer out, took the ring out, and then I slid it out, you know, from the top. And this is what that looks like, those idler gears there. All right, and I also managed to get the bearing out. The case is a little warm, but I would like to compare it to another one. Okay, so this is on just like that, and then you put the setup together. So if I have to, definitely the end cover, and if I have to, we'll get a case as well. Okay, so let's just kind of chunk this down. All right, so I want to knock this tab out of the way and take that bolt out. Actually, first, let's get the filter out of the way. Filter bolts. Filter. Okay, this is going to go like that. Take the fork slider. Okay. I believe that's 5th gear. Bearing, and then we have a washer, but we have a little snap ring in here we're going to take out. And then once we take the snap ring out, we can slide 5th gear, hub, and I don't know if this gear is, may have to be tapped up a little bit. Okay, so let's get the little wire clip out first. Let's find the end. Okay, the end is right there. I need another little screwdriver. Okay, all right, let me see if I can get in a little closer here. Let me just reposition. Okay. Little wire clip. I think that washer is going to come out as well. All right, here's a little wire clip. Put that aside. This should come up. All right. There's also a split ring in here. Okay. Yeah, this isn't going to come up so easy. All right, let me get my other puller on this so we can raise that up and this up at the same time. Okay, let me get set up for that 1 second here. Okay, let's see how this works. I got my puller on it. So there's that gear. Here's fifth. I'm going to take the bearing out with the races, the fifth. Main shaft should lift out. Okay. Now the gears don't look bad. Alright, so regulator assembly is okay. Alright, so what we want to do now we want to get this bearing off, and we're probably going to have to press this gear off as well. Okay. Right. There we go. Okay, so this is second, first, and third. So let's take the bearing and races out. Take the drum off. Okay. And now we can just simply lift these out. And then we'll get to this secondary shaft to look at second gear. So let's see, how's this? This color feels okay. Well, you know what? It's got a little, it's not perfect, but since I'm getting stuff from Honda and the thing's only a couple of bucks, might as well get it. All right, so now we want to lift the diff out. But we got to get rid of this thing here. Going to disconnect the linkage, swing that out of the way. Okay, little lube thing here. Diff will come out, so you have your two ring gears for the all-wheel drive. If it was front-wheel drive, we just had one. Okay, so these are the tubes that we want to update. So let's take a look at those. There we go, if you can see that. That's what happens to every one of them. So that definitely has to be updated. All right, I moved the manual valve out, but I have to, they didn't take the piece off of the bottom. Let me see if I can get this tab back. Okay. There's the blinker that actually bolts to the cable. And here's the bolt. And this, because I like to change the seal in here. This will come right out. And you have your spring attached to it, which I'm going to take off because I don't want to lose. Okay. All right, so I'm going to get my list together. I'm going to find out about the case and stuff like that, so I'm just going to stop here for now. And then, as I move further with this, once I get all my parts together, then I'm going to disassemble the valve body, because this thing may be lame, because from Honda, sometimes the stuff can take 3 or 4 days. So I'm going to be getting the end cover, the cooler return filter or the inline filter, the updated pipes, and the sleeve or the collar. Okay, so for now, I'm going to put this aside. Okay, so I'm just refilming this one segment because I realized the camera angle was no good and you guys really couldn't see what I was doing when I was opening up the clutch drum. So we're going to reshoot this again. So we're going to start with the first and third clutch drum, and we want to mainly take this apart to, number one, to check the clutches, but they're going to be changed anyway. But there's a little wire clip in these things that can break, and if it does, the only place you can really get these is a Honda. Okay, so we're going to check each one of them, because the last one that I did, they were broken. 2 of them were broken actually, okay, and that's this. Okay, all right, these, you know, they don't look bad. I'm just going to put everything back. You know, again, this really didn't have an issue with the screen clogging, more of a noise. Okay, so we know that that one is good. Let's check this one. All right, they got a couple of balance pistons in first, second, and third. Okay, this one is good. Even the bottom steels, you know, they don't get a groove in it where it would have to be changed. Okay, there's that. Now we're going to look at fourth and fifth. So let's slide everything off the main shaft. Okay, and you have 4 rings here, and you have 3 O-rings there. Okay, we're going to take this off the side. And this is fourth. Okay, this is good. These clutches are larger than the first, second, and thirds, fourth and fifth. And here's fifth. Okay. secondary shaft. So this drum is going to come out, this whole setup, well, this here is going to come off. I'm going to take this off. Okay, then we're going to take a little snap ring out here, and everything is going to slide down. All right, so let's get the snap ring pliers. I'm going to use my bent ones, make it a little easier. Okay, there's that. Then, comes off. You got a couple of sealing rings here that seal against that collar to feed the clutch. 2 O-rings, and 1, 2, 3 O-rings here to seal the drums. Okay, we'll lift this off, lift this off. All right, this is good. And now on the second, you have a thick bottom steel. And then the rest. Okay. So again, you want to check those because the only place you can really get those is the dealer. So that's good. Okay, so looks like I'm going to be getting the cover, the cooler return filter, the collar, and the pipes. All right, so I'm going to stop here, and because the stuff may take a little time to get, and then once I get everything, we're going to do the valve body, open that, take that apart, and work on this unit. So I'm going to find out also about this case. So, all right, so we're going to stop here, and we will continue when I get all my parts. Okay, back with you. We're going to go ahead and take apart this valve body. So I'm going to do the regulator section first. Okay. Pop right over here. A little dowel pin lineup. Okay, now I can take off the pin for that, the actuator and the pin. All right, we got the little separator plate. All right, now we'll do the okay. Now the servo body. Bolts out. All right, so this should lift right off. Okay. The little dowels out. I just put this aside for now. Take the plate off. All right, now we got to see, we got a spring and valve here. Okay. Then we got to see about check balls. I know there's one here, but I'm going to get my magnet. Okay, we got one there. one on the other side of the main valve body. Okay, so just two. Easy enough. Okay, so this comes right out too. I really shouldn't do that, but I'm not really feeling a lip here. You get the little lube piece there. Okay, so here is the main valve body. That's for the pump gears. Separate a plate. A little dowel. That seems to be stuck in there. That seems to be stuck in there. Pump gears. And when you put this together, when you're putting it together onto the case, that little groove there faces down. Okay, doesn't feel too bad. All right, so what I'm going to do now, I'm going to knock out the front seal, the axle seal, and the lever seal here, I like to change as well. Take that out. Here's a bearing that goes right behind the front seal there. That's pretty much going to stay. Okay, now what I want to do, see how easy this will come out. I may have to run this through the tank to get this out, but let's give it a shot. There's a little piece that holds the bearing in place. All right, so let me just get set up for this. I'm going to put my little tool in that spreads apart. I'll put a slide hammer on it, and it's either going to come out or it's not going to come out. And if it doesn't, I'll run it through the tank and heat it up, which usually makes it come out after that. Okay, but first, yes. All right, let me just get set up for that. I will be right back. Okay, so I'm set up here, and we'll see how easy or not this comes out. It's actually moving already. Oh. I didn't even do anything. The thing came right out. Wow. That came out really easy. Okay, we'll get the collar out, as they call it. you got a couple O-rings here, and then inside here is where the rings ride. So this bottom one got a little groove here. So I'm going to change that. And then this goes like this. This ring faces more down. So this is how it would go in. Alright, so pretty much that's about it on this '06 Honda CR-V. So the main complaint was the noise, the whining noise in park and neutral. It will go away when you drop it and drive, but of course it would come back when you start driving. We found on the end cover, the pressed fit bearing was way worn out. That falls right out. That should not happen. And also, I'm not too happy with the main case where those idler gears ride. I'm going to look into that a little further. So I think between changing those two, doing an overhaul, I did get my banner kit did arrive. So I'm going to continue. I can at least do these. There's accumulators in here, which I can address with new O-rings on solenoids, and there's more accumulators in here which I can address with new O-rings. And of course on this actuator here you have an O-ring on there, and for reverse you have an O-ring here. Oh, and I wanted to show you one more thing that I didn't show you before. On the counter shaft, so we took the little wire snap ring out, we took the gear off, and now there's a sleeve here that will come out, and these gears here will come out. So I'm going to wash these up just like that. Wash this up. Okay, this is okay. This isn't even turning in park and neutral, so we know that that's not the noise. Definitely with the main shaft. So I guess that's about it. Once again, 2006 Honda CR-V with the MZKA transmission code. This is a four-wheel drive. So I'm going to get my parts list together, get on the phone with the dealer, and see what they got. And I want to worry about that main case as well. Okay, quick follow-up video on this trans. I received my sleeved case today. I actually had to get this thing all the way from a place in California, so it took me about a week to get it. And this is my new cover that I got, brand new cover. I actually had installed the tubes, but my brand new cover from Honda. And as you can see now, when you order the cover, as I believe I had mentioned it, the bearing comes in here because it is a pressed fit. So new bearing there. These are the feed tubes. Actually, I have a set already installed, but they sent me an extra set, so I'm going to keep those on the shelf. And that's it. So I wanted to show you this case. I want to give you a close-up shot of this case because each of these bearings here are sleeved. And if you remember how much here, the idle gears that sit in here were rocking back and forth. Now it is absolutely perfect. And again, new cover. And I just wanted to, kind of show you the difference with the old cover, how the bearing falls right out, which is really not supposed to happen. Again, it's a pressed fit, and it should stay in. All right, so let me get a little closer, and here's the transmission ready to go. I was just waiting for the main case, so now tomorrow morning I can finish this up, and it can go back there. All right, so let me get a little closer shot here, and I wanted to show you the main case here that I just got. And here is my idler gears. We're going to put the gears in, and you'll see how nice and steady it is. All right, so I will get a little closer. Okay, so here is the sleeved case, and each one of these bearings, all four of them, are sleeved. All right, The sleeve is around the outside here, here, and this one you can't see because it's more on the inside because the bearing doesn't rest at the very edge here. So they're all sleeved. And if you remember how loose the idler gears were, when I put this in, nothing. Absolutely steady. Perfect. So this is going to be nice. All right, so that is the sleeve case. This came from a place in California. I believe it's called H&A, which stands for Honda Acura. That's all they do. So they're really the only ones that had the case. And they said to me, if I don't have one, you know, you'll have to ship yours to me and I can do yours and send it back. So we would have shipped it there, you know, like second day air. They would have got right on it and shipped it out, you know, like the next day. But either way, we were covered, even if I had to send mine. Because I really can't put that back because more than likely, we're just going to have the same noise. Okay, here is my cover. And it came in that box. Let me see if I can zoom in a little bit here. Just bring it down. Okay, so I had put the feed pipes, and this comes with it. And of course, anytime you're working with a Honda, you want to make sure these feed pipes are nice and smooth because there are bushings within the shafts that have to go over these. And if the bushings, if the feed pipes are no good, chances are the bushing is no good, and you're just going to have cross leaks. One time we had one that felt like it was binding in first gear on takeoff, and on the main shaft it was the first clutch, the drum, double drum, first and second clutch, and the fourth clutch, I believe. I'm sorry, it was the first clutch on top and the third and fourth clutch. So what I did was, in first gear you're supposed to have pressure in first and nothing else. So what I did was I put the pressure tap in the fourth gear, and then I started driving. I had like 15 pounds of pressure in fourth gear. I took it off and this thing was wiped out. So we kind of knew what direction we had to go in there. So it comes with the bearing, the feed tube, and the bearing, small bearing here, and the seal. Brand new cover. That is really the only way to go with that. All right, and again, the old cover, she comes right out. This thing is no good. Okay, I have an extra set of feed tubes. I do get these also from Transtar. I don't know if you can see that number. They are different, you know, depending on the model. But we do a lot of these units. Of course, Hondas, I probably do at least one a week here. This week I got 2 of them. But, you know, I usually get these from Transtar because they sell them too. But when I called for these, actually I had to get these from Honda because it showed zeros across the board. So I don't know if they're becoming scarce or becoming hard to get. But I want to have myself covered for the next one. It does fit a variety, but it may not fit all of them. And here are the tubes. Let me just... Here are the tubes here, the updated tubes. All right, and I'll give you a shot of this unit ready to go with the cover. Back out a little bit. All right, so that's ready for the main cover. All right, so I have a bearing in here already. So this bearing I got to take out. Actually, let's do that now. And I actually got to send them the core with all the bearings. So I will give them this one as well. So that is about it for this 2006 Honda CR-V. The problem was, the complaint was a noise in park and neutral, goes away when you put it into drive or reverse, and then as you start driving, the noise comes back. All right, and we found, of course, the end cover worn out. We found the main case worn out, which means the gears were not running true. So we got a new cover, we got a sleeve case. The gears look okay, so I think we're gonna be good to go. All right, so that is about it. I thank you guys for watching. Have a great day, and we will see you next one.